Good evening, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society, bringing you a tropical update regarding our highlighted area of interest along the southeastern United States that has now reached a 40% chance of development. If we take a closer look here along the southeastern coast, let me make sure. This is a little bit of an older image. We'll get a couple new frames here. But as we could see, there is a persistent level of cloudiness and thunderstorm activity. The area of kind of spin that we're looking at is back over, well, the not necessarily where anything's going to develop, but there is a little bit of vorticity that was showing up in association with these thunderstorms out here. But it looks like if development is going to occur, it is going to be over here into the southwestern Atlantic area. So, as we could see, there is a small little spot here in the northeastern portions of the Gulf of Mexico, but it is not that's not the likely point if development were to occur. Development is likely to occur out here if development occurs at all. And that's going to be kind of off the east coast of Florida, north of the Bahamas, and south of the Carolinas. So, kind of in that area where we'll have to keep an eye on for the Gulf Stream if any surface circulation were to get developed over there. It's something that we'll have to really keep a watch on. Rainmaker, as far as everything is concerned. Now, real quick, I want to take a look at Earth Null first here this evening and show everybody that we've got, if we come up a little bit higher into the atmosphere, 1 mile above the surface, we've got kind of this trough feature that is kind of, well, it's kind of like this. It's kind of stalling out, hanging out over the area. Well, at the same time, if we come up a little higher into the atmosphere, we do have a little bit of disturbances, and especially with the decaying upper level low that is right here, as you could see with the little bend in the winds associated with that. Now, as these two interact, an area of rotation or spin is expected to occur. Now, I'm going to go forward 8-hour increments here with the GFS. Now, this is 24 hours into the future, and now we get about 48 hours into the future. And now we're starting to see a little bit of rotation here. Now, again, this is the GFS's model, and as we could see, there is spin that is trying to develop here about approximately 1 mile above the surface, and a very broad area of spin here at the surface. Now, as you could see with land interaction, nothing really occurs. But then it looks like as it kind of works its way across the Florida Peninsula, then it can get out here and potentially try to get its act together. As you could see, multiple little areas of spin. And again, this is off of the GFS operational model. If we come up a little further, maybe about 2 miles up above into the atmosphere, you see a very broad area of spin, broad area of rotation. Now, that's going to be the key component, and that's going to have to be the thing that we watch. As you could see, Earth Null only goes out 120 hours, so we can't really get any further than that with Earth Null, but there's going to certainly be some inclement weather. Real quick, I have the University of Wisconsin, and just to show everybody that we do have a area of spin associated with this here at the 925 millibar, and a very broad area of vorticity here at the 850 millibar level. So again, this is approximately 1 mile up above the surface, and if we get up approximately 2 miles above the surface, again, it is a very broad area of spin. Now, if we were looking for something more in the tropical nature, taking a look at Hurricane Flossie out here into the eastern Pacific as a comparison is, a good reference point. This thing is a mess right now, and it's not really what we're looking at right now is not really the main player of the show, so to say. Now, real quick, I do want to highlight that there is some Saharan dust all throughout the region here. Plus, with the frontal boundary coming in and incorporating a little bit more dry air, it's going to be quite interesting to see if this thing can actually get its act together. Just because of the fact that the dry air and the dust is going to be there just prior. Now, if it can, re-moisten the atmosphere and everything like that, it remains to be seen. But if we take a look here at the overall ensembles from the European, this is the 12Z. This is going out 7 days. And it being 50 ensembles, the probability of development here is not very high. And if we go out 8 days, there's always going to be that one that just lingers over the Gulf Stream and actually tries to develop into something. But that's very, very unlikely at this point. Comparing that to the GEFS, as you could see, the GEFS over the next 7 days is an absolute mess with a whole bunch of areas of just broad spin. There's really no cohesive organization to it whatsoever, and nothing that gets any type of intensity. Now, the European AI model is a little bit interesting because it does show the development of some type of spin here, maybe 30%, 40% at that point, and then also kind of wants to drive it back towards the coast, which is very believable and very plausible due to the location of the high pressure out here. And notice we have a couple signals, not a lot, over the next 7 days from this area of disturbed weather right here, as this continues to move around the high pressure. So, and obviously I will show the Google DeepMind, and Flossie's pretty much dead. We're going to go ahead, we're going to zoom in here and make sure that we can catch the coastline. And I'm going to turn on all the little ensembles at this point just to kind of show everybody what we're looking at. So the more likely scenario is out here into the southwestern Atlantic, but take a look back here south of Bermuda. Now, we're not looking at anything potentially impactful. Now everything with all the uncertainty has just gotten absolutely carried away. So let's just go ahead and use the Google's new model just to show a comparison here. They were performing pretty well, so I will use it as a regular as long as their performance still continues to be viable. But as you can see, we certainly have some signals to where we might get more than one storm. But the question is, with all that uncertainty, what are we looking like for rain? Well, right now, the Weather Prediction Center has a bullseye here for the west central portions of the Florida Peninsula. And I do know that the Storm Prediction Center has 2 days of a slight risk for excessive rainfall also in this area. So folks, please be careful as far as the flooding is concerned. You know how the roads get down there. They'll be flooded for 1 minute and then empty the next minute. So it's, yes, we're looking at a good amount of rain, over 48 hours, 72 hours, we're decent amount, and then the normal summertime rainfall pattern. You don't get those big numbers. It's most likely going to be tomorrow and the following day. Check with the National Weather Service office for the official and kind of a more updated forecast. The model blend is showing a little bit less than what the Weather Prediction Center is showing. But again, we're not seeing anything other than just some coastal impacts, maybe here, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches. Not a lot. Uh-oh, what happened here? All right, we're out in the Western Pacific. I lost all of what happened. Wow. Okay. So jumping out into the Eastern Pacific, if you guys have any questions regarding our little spot out there in the Atlantic, just let me know. Put them in the chat, and I'll do what I can to answer them. Honestly, I'm not really concerned yet with that. It's just going to be an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity, which is something typical for July. It could impact the 4th of July celebrations, but it doesn't look like a washout by any means over the Florida Peninsula even. There's going to be some hit and miss showers, but I really don't see too overly much at all with this yet. I'm not really concerned with it. It's there, and there is a chance for development, but please don't let it worry you at this time, because it's going to have to run through a lot of hoops if it was going to try to get itself organized, for one, and then whether it's going to gain any intensity. Oh, that's even going to be a harder task to undergo. So again, it's there. Please, folks, just make sure that you're paying attention to check back every now and then. Make sure you at least look at the outlook once a day. That's recommended, just to make sure that the development percentages don't get crazy. And we're going to cover it if it does. So pay attention to the page. You guys will definitely see it. Now, looking at the Eastern Pacific, we've got Hurricane Flossie here. It's on its last leg. I have no idea where they come up with Flossie for the name. That's been quite a bit of a debate. It's kind of a crazy name. They used to have one in the Atlantic by the name of Flossie, and now we've got one in the Eastern Pacific. But that's historical stuff. So, but looking, we also have another tropical wave moving in. This is going to be the next one that has the opportunity to develop. As you can see, it has a 50% chance of development right in the same area where Flossie was. And Flossie, again, is on its way out the door. As you can see with the feathering of the clouds, and especially this dry, stable air mass that is just being injected in here. And the reason for this dry, stable air mass is the water temperatures. The water temperatures are not conducive for tropical cyclone development and or sustainment here. That's why this thing is pretty much on its way out the door. Will be expected to be post-tropical within 36 hours and pretty much a remnant low after 48. So as we could see, it is currently located at 19.5 north, 109.8 west, with a maximum sustained winds of 100 miles an hour. It is moving northwest at 9 miles an hour with a minimum central pressure of 974 millibars, or 28.77 inches of mercury. There are no longer any coastal watches or warnings in effect. There was some tropical storm warnings associated with Flossie along the southwestern coast of Mexico. I haven't heard of any significant impacts other than increased winds and some increased rainfall there. So as we could see, steady to rapid weakening is expected during the next few days, with the system to forecast to become post-tropical cyclone late Thursday. So by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, this thing's going to be done. And in the discussion, as you could see very, very quickly, we're going from 100 miles an hour to 45 miles an hour in 36 hours. That is the definition. If you think of rapid intensification at 30 knots or 35 miles an hour in a 24-hour period, you can consider rapid weakening the same thing. If it weakens more than or 35 miles an hour or more within a 24-hour period, that is considered rapid weakening. So we would like to see rapid weakening on many storms as we go through this upcoming season, especially if it is out over the open water. As we could see here, the wind field nowhere near the Baja Peninsula, and that's why there's no watches and warnings. As we could see also, it is crossing into that much, much cooler sea surface temperatures, where down here development can definitely occur, sustain, and Flossie became another major hurricane. But when we take a look and getting up here to the north and to the west of that area, not so much. So it's on its way out the door. Refreshing here, yeah, the vorticity maximums are plummeting, honestly. And the shear is starting to increase, plus the dry air is kind of ridiculous, what's being injected into it. Now, as this continues to weaken further and further, then the low-level flow will take this and usher it off to the west, and it will not continue on this northwesterly track, and it'll end up tracking out, being a kind of a naked swirl of clouds. When they do this, there's a 12, 18, 24-hour period where it's really pretty to look at, and it has no as far as visible satellite is concerned, and it has no visible convection with it whatsoever. It's just a swirl of clouds. Jumping out to the western Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Mun. Now, I like this. They keep the name very simple. It's just Mun and not Flossie. But again, I digress. This one has got a wild forecasted track associated with this. Could reach typhoon status, is forecasted here within the next few days, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, this is out into the open waters. It's not really impacting too much. And of course, I just wanted to make sure, I haven't over the last few times. We are on YouTube now, folks. So if you guys want to watch it over there, so this way it's just a different platform, different app, and you're not necessarily beholden to the video there on Facebook. All right, everybody, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Again, folks, I expect to be live now that this is at 40%, unless the models fall off the cliff, which I highly doubt. The National Hurricane Center is most likely going to keep this at a 40%. And as long as it's there, we'll definitely be live every night this week. But again, don't let this really impact your holiday plans. Just make sure that you understand that it's a little bit of an increase in moisture availability, except for those on west central Florida there. Folks, please be careful. Don't drive through the flooded roadways. Give it an hour. It'll drain. I promise. Well, for the most part, if you start dropping like 8 inches of rain in a neighborhood, it might take a little longer than an hour. I hope no flooding takes place, but we'll have to wait and see. And if you do incur some flooded roadways, please don't drive through them. And especially the parking lots. Please don't drive through the flooded parking lots and just wide open spaces thinking that you know where you're going. And then the next thing you know, somebody ends up with the taillight sticking out of the ditch. I hope that's not what we see. We do see it kind of quite often here in the state of Florida. So please, folks, do not drive through flooded roadways or just flooded areas unless you can actually, you know exactly what you're doing and you can see the road. I mean, I know that a lot of flooding occurs here in Florida as far as just minor flooding and ponding of the roadways and stuff like that, and folks do drive through it. I get it. But if it's standing water and it's not really going anywhere, please don't drive through the flooded roadways. Let it drain. We do have a very, very good drainage system in this state, and it will, barring some kind of tropical cyclone, it usually drains rather quickly. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Good night.